Welcome back, everyone. Glad you could rejoin me here for our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. Hopefully you've been enjoying your weekend. Hopefully you're hanging out, having some fun with some loved ones, enjoying your hobbies, whatever it might be, taking a little bit of time off before I know that Monday comes before we know it. So let's get started with today's show. Let's make sure we answer some of our community's questions. Always look forward to every Saturday and Sunday to answering your questions. And this Saturday, this Sunday, this weekend is absolutely no different. All right, let's open up that big document. I'm doing that right now. We shall see what our wellness, weight loss, anti-aging questions of the week are. The first question comes in from one of our questionnaires, one of our community members yesterday, and it's from Tina. So let's see what Tina has to say today. She says, "Hi, it's me again, LOL. My husband is 48 years old and was born with congenital heart disease. 12 years ago, he had a heart transplant. For the most part, he is very, very healthy. And from what his transplant team tells him, he recently also did the Big Five. We are waiting for the results to get back. Question is, because he's taken so many different drugs, especially immunosuppressants, heart rejection medicine, is he still able to take all the supplements his IHP level 2 practitioner will recommend? I'm wondering what your thoughts are on someone like him. Can he reverse everything just like someone who has not had a heart transplant? Should he consult his transplant team before anything? Just curious what your thoughts are on someone like him who is anatomy is not the norm. Thank you so much for all you do." All right, Tina, great question. So whenever you're speaking about a specific medical-based condition, especially someone that is on immunosuppressants and had an organ transplant, you always want to check everything that a person is doing with their medical-based team. So you want to make sure that if they're using omega-3s, are those okay? Because those may thin the blood. So someone on blood thinners may not be able to take those. You want to ask if the daily nutritional support and all of the good multivitamins are okay. If a multivitamin's okay, well, it's probably going to be okay. But again, you need to ask. Probiotics should be fine, but again, you'll ask. Maybe the bacteria doesn't work well with immunosuppressants he's on. So what you really want to do is just make sure that you are your own health advocate and, of course, helping your husband out, and that he says, hey, this is what I have going on with my gut or heavy metals or whatever it might be. Am I able to use these products? And then lifestyle counts as well, meaning like, can your husband exercise? If so, how much? Can he use the sauna? If so, how much, right? So these are all great things to be able to talk with his team so that he can get the same level of health that any other individual would. All right. Thank you, Tina. Kelly's up next. Kelly says, do you have expertise in working with epilepsy? My teenage son starting having seizures at 16. He is stable on medication. He's 19. I want to get him off meds and find the root cause. If you can help, I will fill out the paperwork for a wellness appointment. Kindly, Kelly. Okay, so Kelly, the best thing to do whenever you have a question for the health coaching team, you can always write in to support at equid.life, and they're happy to help you there. But of course, I'm happy to answer your questions too. Just keep in mind, this is a good time for that medical disclaimer. We don't provide any medical treatment plans, any medical diagnosis, any medical cures. What's the other one? I know I'm forgetting one. Medical advice. If I didn't say that, that's the other. So what we do is we do the opposite of conventional medicine, right? So conventional medicine diagnoses a disease and gives you a medication to mask the symptoms. I don't have a problem with that if that's what people want. I don't, honestly. If that's what people want, I do not have a problem with it. I don't. But that doesn't mean you get better, all right? So, because if you come off the medication, you obviously, the symptoms come right back. If that didn't happen, then it would actually be a cure, but that's not what happens with medication. Come off statin drugs, your cholesterol goes back up. Come off blood pressure medication, blood pressure goes back up. Come off anti-seizure medication, seizures come back, right? So what I want to share with you is this, is we work on root causes. We work on the root cause imbalance of why these things happen in the first place. Now with epilepsy, of course, there's a genetic predisposition to seizures. But what we do is we say, okay, what's the inflammation levels like? What are the omega-6 to omega-3 levels? What are their levels of their B vitamins and vitamin C? Like we look at all of those different things. Are there heavy metals? So we work on all the root causes, all right, Kelly, and we're happy to do that and happy to help. You can go to stephencabral.com/health-coaching, or you can run the Big Five Labs at stephencabral.com/big and the number 5. Anonymous is up third today. Anonymous says, apart from the usual low thyroid symptoms, is there any link between Candida and high TSH? And if so, why would that be? Apart from the potential malabsorption of iodine and selenium, of course. Okay, great question. High-level question. Happy to help. So TSH stands for thyroid stimulating hormone, for those that don't know, and that's perfectly normal not to know that. And thyroid stimulating hormone is what is told from the pituitary gland, which gets its orders from the hypothalamus, of how much thyroid to start to produce. So TSH means it's stimulating the thyroid to produce T4, which will eventually and hopefully become T3. So the question is a bit of it doesn't go deep enough. It's a great question, but we need to say TSH matters, but if you haven't run something like the stress, mood, and metabolism test, and again, you can find all these labs at stephencabral.com/labs. You don't have to run them through Equilife. You can run them through one of our amazing, or not our, but you can run them through an integrative health practitioner, level 2, or your local naturopathic doctor, and that would be fine. Again, do what you feel is best for you. Just know that they do exist and that you can figure this out. So if TSH is high, you want to make sure that T4 and T3 are not low, especially T3, because if they are, TSH is going to continue to be high. Now, is there a link between it and Candida? Sure, could be, because there could certainly be intestinal permeability, which Candida can be a partial cause of, or at least a symptom of, intestinal permeability, where you're allowing more protein, bacteria, etc., waste to move through that single cell gut lining into the bloodstream, causing inflammation, which may then set off an imbalanced thyroid. So for sure, I mean, that can be a big part of it. And typically, a lot of times with Candida, the diet may not be the best. So someone is taking in some fluoride from tap water, which could be then blocking iodine. They might be taking in more bromines from processed food, blocking iodine, chlorine from tap water or showers without a filter, et cetera. Again, blocking iodine. So yeah, there's lots of connections for sure. And it's not usually the only one, though, to be honest with you. It's not typically just the only one. All right. All right, Angie's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for your guidance through my family's healing journey. I have a question regarding my 11-year-old daughter. She has an enlarged tonsil on the left side of her throat. My left, when I look in her throat, got it. So her right, your left. Our general practitioner doctor noticed it after a bout of antibiotics due to strep when she was a kindergartner, so she went to see a specialist, and he just said to watch it. She now sees a naturopathic doctor and tested positive for H. pylori and SIBO, which she has done treatment for and eradicated. She currently takes her DNS, DFVB, vitamin D, omega-3. Her tonsil is still the same size it was when she was 5, and nothing seems to settle it down. Do you have any suggestions? Okay, so I went through this with my oldest daughter. Your daughter's 11. My daughter had swollen tonsils for quite some time. I just fully expected them to go down on their own. They did not. So I had to take action. It was not easy to shrink her tonsils once enlarged. Now, tonsils will often become enlarged with some type of infection because that's their job, to filter essentially pathogens and white blood cells as a node, but they didn't go down. It was making it difficult for her to breathe when she slept at night and swallow food. So I knew I had to take action. I've done shows on this before, so you can definitely check out. You can just type in tonsil at stephencabral.com/podcast to listen to my previous answers on this as well. My protocol for my daughter, I was willing to do it as long as it took. So like, that's the thing about natural health. It's like, how committed are you? Because I wanted to save my daughter's tonsils, because part of my health issues began with me having my tonsils removed and my adenoids removed. So I was committed to keeping her tonsils in her body. So I did my children's wellness protocol and had her gargle with it she did it twice a day, and she did it for over 2 months. It didn't work for like 3 to 4 weeks. And then there was a small change, and then a small change, and then a small change. So she gargled it and then swallowed it. And I kept going with it because I knew what I had to have happen. And then she would do throat spray as well on her tonsils. We used a propolis throat spray, which I've spoken about before, and I used a colloidal silver throat spray as well. I did one for 2 weeks, then the next one for 2 weeks, then I alternated back to the other one. I did them both. Children's wellness protocol twice a day, and the immune protocol twice a day. We are coming out with our own easier to use children's wellness protocol in, I'm hoping August, September, before cold flu season, etc. But certainly what I used, I can share with you, was liquid vitamin C, a liquid elderberry thyme echinacea product, and I used 3 drops of biocidin. Yes, so that's exactly what I did. So I'm hopeful that that's helpful, and that's what I did. Again, I can't get, this is not medical advice or medical treatment plan. That's exactly what I did though. And I use Sovereign Silver throat spray, and I use, the name is like, it has the word B in it, and it's a propolis throat spray. All right. Soci is up next. Thanks a lot. I got your page from a friend of mine. I got hemophilia one year ago now. I'm 46 years old, and this hemophilia is not hereditary. I got some scanners, but no reasons. I take no medications. Now I'm only medication. Sorry, this is written in like partially translated from a different language. I can tell, which is no problem at all. It looks like it might be French. How do I boost my immunity and help factor 8? Okay, so let me just do my best to translate and help you with this. So what we're talking about is a difficulty in the ability to clot blood, right? So that's a issue. So whenever I say that there's a medical issue, we need to check with your medical doctor as to what could be going on, right? So we want to actually look at the factors for why you might have a blood clotting issue. So we want to look at that. And there certainly can be a hereditary issue. I don't deny that at all. But then we want to look at what is the overall health and wellness of the body. So when people ask me about these very, serious health-based issues, I always say that personally, like I don't just recommend like, oh, you should just take more B12. You should take more ubiquinol. I'd never do that. And I hope you know that by now that that is not, that would be unethical and immoral of me to say that to you. So what I do is I say, please work with your medical doctor on any genetically predisposed health issue like epilepsy or the organ transplant we spoke about, or some type of hemophilia, right? So, but then we have to do our own part of what's going on with our body today. And so we want to run the big 5. And if the big 5 isn't in your budget, I totally understand. And you want to run then the starter kit instead. Okay. So you can find those at stephencabral.com/labs. And you want to look for all of the cases that your body might not be at its healthiest. Heavy metals, gut issues, low vitamins, low minerals, high copper. Like you just want to run through all the different scenarios, find out what your deficiencies are and bring those up, find out what your toxicities are and bring those down. I know sometimes I feel like I oversimplify that, and it is complicated, but let your naturopathic doctor, your naturopath, your integrative health practitioner, your equal life health coach, like let someone help you through this process, because it's too hard to do on your own, right? That's why we hire an attorney. It's why we hire a accountant. It's why we hire a specialist in the field so that they learned all this, so that we can be cognizant of what we need to do for our own health, but we can take the expert advice, right, from both your medical doctors and your natural health practitioner. So hopefully that's helpful. Thank you for writing in. Let's do one more question today. Our 6th one of the day. It's from Liz. Liz says, hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for putting so much time and effort into your podcast. It's clear that you have a drive and a need to help people help themselves. Thank you, Liz. I appreciate that, and I'm glad that that comes through. I've learned a lot over the past couple of years. My question is, what do you think of Fucoxanthin? I don't know. I'll have to look that up, to aid in fat loss. I haven't been able to find a lot of information on it, but what I've seen, it seems promising. It's hard to find though, and I question the quality of the supplements that I've been able to find. Is it legitimate? How do I find a source I can trust? Well, I'm going to be honest with you, and I never look things up on the podcast ever on these house calls, because then I would be going deep into research and all that, and simply that's just something I'm not able to do. So always try to draw from 25 years of experience helping well over 250,000 people. So I'm just looking up quickly though, and it looks like it is a xanthophil, and it is a pigment that comes from brown algae. Interesting. Where it gets that brown or olive green color. So it is also an antioxidant because it's a carotenoid. Well, it looks very interesting. It's so basically powerful antioxidant base effects, looks at helping with blood sugar, obesity, etc. Well, I'm certainly going to look into it. It would be years before I may ever use this product, because the safety, my bar for safety is so high. So there's so many things that we already know for weight loss. You don't need to use a product that's brand new. You really don't. You need to balance blood sugar, thyroid, stress hormones, thermogenesis. I talk all about this inside of Fatlocity. Again, you don't need to purchase the Fatlocity system, but go to stephencabral.com/Fatlocity. Understand the 5 main factors that cause people not to be able to lose the weight or gain it in the first place. So it's not like I may not use a product like this in the future if there's a lot of scientific validity behind it. But I would need to see this really proven out because it is a specific extract, and I'd want to see what the effective dosage is and also what the max dosage is that may actually have repercussions. So hopefully that's helpful. And again, thank you for writing in. I always learn new things myself, and I love this field. I love being able to research every day, find out new things, and see if it may work with our community or not. All right. So thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate you. I thank you so much, and I'll talk with you tomorrow on our Mindset and Motivation Monday.